Football fans around the world have been watching the Argentina squad's celebrations following their 4-2 penalty shootout win over France to clinch their third world title on Sunday. Fans have been reacting to the antics of goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez. The 30-year-old is seemingly on a mission to torment French superstar Kylian Mbappe. Martinez first called for a moment's silence for Mbappe during dressing room celebrations after the game in Qatar. And while the Argentines celebrated on an open-top bus tour, Martinez could be seen holding a doll with an Mbappe mask on the face. The shot-stopper has seemingly taken exception to Mbappe's comments prior to the start of the World Cup, where the Frenchman took a shot at the quality of South American teams. He said, Mbappe, South American teams have disadvantages because they don't have the same level of competition as European teams. Argentina and Brazil don't play matches at a high level to get to the World Cup. Football is not as advanced as it is in Europe. That's what you saw in recent World Cups. Yeah, well, this is how Martinez responded the night before Argentina lifted the World Cup trophy. He said about Mbappe, he doesn't know enough about football. He has never played in South America. If you don't have that experience, maybe it's better not to talk about it. Now, in the wake of Martinez's antics, the president of the French Football Association, Noël Le Graët, has lodged an official complaint to his Argentine counterpart, Claudio Tapia, over the behavior of Emi Martinez. The question people are asking is, how will this play out when Messi goes back to PSG? Because Mbappe will say, well, you stood by and allowed your guy to belittle me, to mock me, and you come back here and expect that we'll be buddies pulling for the same cause?
Yeah. I saw a response from Kylian Mbappe somewhere today, probably on social media, which sometimes you have to question the legitimacy or the authenticity of these things. But a narrative that suggested that Mbappe isn't too bothered. He feels that he and Messi will be okay when they get back together as teammates. As I said, I can't verify the authenticity of those Mbappe comments, but it is very untidy because, as the French are saying, in the instances where Martinez had the doll, Messi was, in most of the pictures I saw, Messi was standing right beside him. So it almost visually looks as if, you know, Messi is there supporting that anti-Mbappe stance. Now, they are teammates at PSG, but they are international rivals because they actually faced off in the match for the biggest international title of all. Uncomfortable to me for something like this to be developing in the way that it is, for the French sports minister and the French FA to feel as if it has gone past the level of decency. Tells a story, and I think it's unfortunate.
And you know what, guess what? So I know you make the good point that you don't, well, you have doubts about the veracity of the source saying that Mbappe didn't feel any way about it. I think he does, because I think the French know that it troubles him to the extent that they say, you know what, let's show our player that we are supporting him. If you ask the question, what have the French FA done about it? Well, we made representation to our Argentine colleagues to say that we find it distasteful and that we believe that Martinez should be reined in. Now, I'm all for banter. I'm all for the man or the woman who wins to gloat. I am all for that if you win. But there's a point where it becomes indecent. And in the dressing room, if he says a moment of silence for Mbappe and does his thing, fine, perfectly fine. Open top bus tour and you say, I made Mbappe miss. Well, you didn't make Mbappe miss, but I bested Mbappe. And Mbappe doesn't know anything about South American football, perfectly fine. But you go as the extent of taking a doll. I don't know if you made it yourself or if someone gave it to you, and you put with the Mbappe mask on it. That's taking it too far. And I believe that Martinez doesn't realize that football is a game that will kick you in the privates. Yes? Argentina have been trying to win this World Cup with Messi for 5 tournaments. They've only just won it. So he has had more successes than failures Messi has. What that means is more failures than successes. What that means is that failure is not too far around the corner. And I'm thinking that Martinez should have been hauled up by Messi to say, listen, all right, listen, leave that alone. Throw away the doll. We don't want people to believe that, because whether or not Messi was Mbappe's teammate at club level is irrelevant. He should have said, listen, we beat them in the way that we want to beat them. Leave the rest to them. Let the fans do that. And the other thing I want to say quickly is this. This thing about goalkeepers unsettling strikers at penalty kicks, I think they need to put some order to it. The penalty you're going to get a penalty taken in a penalty shootout.
Yes.
The referee has charge of the ball. The referee spots the ball. The only time the goalkeeper should touch the ball is whether he's picking it out of the back of the net or he is retrieving it after having saved it. The moment the referee spots the ball becomes the property of the kicker because he will kick when he's ready, subject to the referee's instruction.
Yes.
There should be nothing stopping the keeper from, on his goal line, once the referee has indicated that it's a penalty, the keeper should be ordered to retreat to his goal line. So he can't barge the player taking the penalty. He can't scruff the penalty spot as we've seen goalkeepers do. He can speak from the goal line, anything he wants to say, because you can't stop a man from talking. But they should reduce the level of interaction and goalkeeper going in strikers' faces. That shouldn't be a part of the game, because if we open that window, we are opening ourselves to more players taking more liberties with certain aspects of the game.
Yeah, let's backpedal a bit though, George, because at the top of the show you had suggested that you didn't think Martinez would be fighting a CONMEBOL battle in response to Mbappe suggesting that European football is far superior to South American football.
Yes.
I suggest, though, that no matter who we are talking about, if you're a South American elite player, you are going to be offended by Mbappe's comments. No team has been more successful in international football than Brazil has. 5 world titles. Argentina have won 3. Uruguay have won 2. France only won 2. So for a France star to suggest that South American football quality is significantly below European football, I would suggest that a South American, Brazilian, an Argentine would be very offended by those comments. Not that they have to take the revenge issue as far as Martinez is, but I think the Argentines found Mbappe's statements offensive.
All right. Here's the thing, though. Mbappe is right. Fact of the matter is, Brazil was the last South American team to win it 20 years ago before this one, Argentina. So in 20 years, and if we get by the graphic that Mbappe said, there's a key line that absolves him of the blame that I would have usually apportioned to him. Because Mbappe said something in his statement that I think is the key part of the statement as far as I'm concerned. He said, that's what you saw in recent World Cups. Mbappe is 24 years old. He was born 2 years before Brazil was the last South American team to win the World Cup. In Mbappe's lifetime, South America don't win World Cups. And in Mbappe's time, South America has only been to the World Cup once, the final once, that was Argentina in 2014. So from Mbappe's lived experience, and on an experiential basis, Mbappe is well within his right to say that Europe is better than South America at the World Cup. And he said in recent World Cups, so he even gave himself a note. And the other thing is this. When you consider it, Emiliano Martinez has come to the point where he can be the Argentine goalkeeper. Very lucky to be the Argentine goalkeeper. Number 1 and number 2 having issues and he gets in. But he's made his name in Europe. So it is in Europe that he's from. Which of the Argentine stars who played in that World Cup final are slumming it out in the aperture? Well, they don't have the aperture anymore. In the Argentine domestic competition, none.
I hear you, George, and the points you have made pretty solid. But I think there was an inference as well that in the World Cup qualifiers, the South American teams have an easier run than the European teams. Yeah, but the quality of the South American teams would be pretty solid.
No, I'm agreeing with Mbappe again because, Lance, we've said it several times here.
Yes.
Brazil and Argentina apart. CONMEBOL is not too hot right now.
All right, George, I hear you and I understand what you're saying. But the South Americans will reject that. They will find a way to suggest that he is being disrespectful given the history. You're right that Mbappe qualified his statement by saying in the recent past, but the South Americans aren't going to think about that, George. They're going to see those comments as a slight against South American football. That is the way they're taking it.
And that's the point I'm going to agree with you on, because as you rightly said, but I just want it to be clear. I can understand Mbappe totally,
and I do as well.
With him. Okay.
Yeah, because as you said, he qualified, but in the recent past, because if he's talking recently, then they've had more success.
And in his lived experience, even more important than that, the man is 24, born 2 years before the last South American team won it. Where I'm agreeing with you is this. If I'm Argentina, or if I'm an Argentine in the Argentina team, I have 2 World Cups like France. I have in my team a player who many people say is the greatest player of all time. I have in my team's history another player who many people say is the greatest player of all time. Who is this French man to be telling me about? So from that perspective,
yes, so that's what I'm saying.
I'm agreeing.
And you know how the Argentines are. That is how they're going to look at it. Who is this French 24-year-old who was just born the other day making these statements about South American football? Yeah, so
from that perspective.
So Mbappe's points clinically are not incorrect.
Yes.
But from an image standpoint and for a position of Argentina's overall pride, they're going to be hurt. They're going to be hurt by Mbappe's comments.
Yes, and I want to say this to you as well. We watched the World Cup without Italy. Don't forget that.
Yes. Who are the second most successful team in World Cup football history, behind the Brazilians.
And Italy, Lance, in qualifying, were rubbish. They couldn't score a goal to save their lives because this, just like Germany, this Italian generation lacks the ace goal poacher that typifies an Italian team and typifies a German team.
That's right.
Notwithstanding that Italy won the European Championship, beating England on penalties at Wembley.
Yes.
As rubbish as this Italian team were, and I watched them in about 3 qualifiers, they would have qualified if they were in CONMEBOL. Fact, Lance. Because I'm telling you, but I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Beyond Argentina and Brazil,
yes,
CONMEBOL, yes, this cycle, yes, rank, Lance. Yes. Very, 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 yes, very rank. So Italy, who was not good enough to qualify, yes, and it wasn't that they were unlucky, yes, in not qualifying. Yes. They deserved, yes, to not qualify.
They didn't score goals.
Yes, so
and
again,
you need to score goals to advance.
So Mbappe looks at that again and says what he says. So he is in his right to say what he says. Martinez, from the perspective that we're saying about pedigree, yes, he's also right. Yes. But he's over-egged the souffle.
Yes.
As Piers Morgan would say. Yes, he's over-egged the souffle. He take it too far, lads.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, man.
Break time?
Want more content? Follow us on YouTube, subscribe to SportsMax on cable, and download the SportsMax app today.